What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bucks on Deck podcast episode. Back to you after a week off. I'm Anthony Murphy. With me, as always, Nola Jeffy. Nola, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Just got back from a long weekend myself.
Yeah,
Bright and early.
yeah. We took a week off of the podcast. I went down to Florida to visit some family. That was nice. Got back Monday, the day we were recording. Thanks to that Steelers game, only slept about an hour or two. Going there, and I'm back in the proper time zone now. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. Just like I expected, I could not adjust properly to the hour difference there. I was constantly saying the wrong time. The time on my phone was throwing me off. I looked at my fantasy team and I was wondering why there were so many 12 o'clock games. Like what was happening that it was 12 o'clock where all these games are starting. So yeah, that was a fun experience.
Yeah, I remember that when I spent my senior year in Minnesota. I'd be like, all right, it's 1 o'clock, time for the games. It'd be like halfway through the game. I'm like, wait, what? Why are the games almost what? I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah, time difference.
Noon start.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. But yeah, so we're back, and as we're recording, the Arizona Fall League has officially kicked off. So since we haven't really had a chance to talk about it too much, we figured that this episode will kind of give a little bit of rundown of the players that the Pirates are sending, as well like a name or two elsewhere that we're both kind of intriguing. You know, we're both kind of, big into tracking prospects throughout baseball and whatnot. So is a really good collection of some. It seems like the at least like the hitting class seems fairly solid this year. There's some pretty notable names, so it'll be fun to track along. And we'll toss some names out there for everyone to kind of follow along if they decide to tune in. But do you want to start with the hitters or the pitchers for the Pirates?
I guess let's go pitchers, since that's your favorite.
Pitchers. Yep. All right, pitchers. Pirates have they're sending 5 pitchers. They're sending 9 players total. Mike Burrows was supposed to be one of them, but we found out the other day that he was removed from the roster, and Valentin Linares took his place. I guess we can go and start with him. Reliever, started the year in Altoona, struggled. Was kind of a guy that I was kind of hyping up a little bit going into the season. Struggled in Altoona, ended up getting demoted back to Greensboro. Pitched a lot better then. Upper 90s fastball, elite extension. This is something we figured out during spring. Had 43 strikeouts in 25 innings in High A. What are your thoughts on Linares in general? Anything stand out to you?
I mean, I guess, yeah. You kind of said it already. Just, it was someone that, again, in the spring training when he was throwing, we could get some data on him. He had extension that we hadn't really known existed to that extent. And always knew he threw hard, but yeah, I don't know. He's always just been more of like a ground ball, pitch to contact kind of pitcher. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe he's working on a little extra something. They want to get some extra innings on the arm to work out something, but yeah.
He's a good example of never really put too much stock into like minor league relievers, because like he's especially when they're in like the lower levels, because like he made the switch to the bullpen like in 2023, and like he was lighting it up there. I got to see him pitch out of the bullpen. I think he hit like 98, 99 a couple times, but like hit AA and just kind of hit a wall with it. So speaking of minor league relievers, Eddie, probably the guy who outside of like the top guys that's a lot of Pirates fans are probably going to recognize is Eddie Yean. Eddie Yean going to to the fall league, pitched in Double-A, got to see a couple games in Triple-A. What were your thoughts on him this season? Or like maybe some stuff that you noticed, maybe like a difference, kind of, because he really kind of took a step forward this year.
It seemed like the control was relatively a little better, because especially an A ball coming up, his control definitely wasn't very pristine. I guess one of the things that stuck out just came in his last few appearances or whatever with Indianapolis, when we got those stat cards from TJ Stats and stuff graded out better than expected, because he himself has always been, he's always thrown hard, but it's always been more of a pitch to contact, doesn't generate a lot of high strikeout rates, but I was relatively surprised, which could kind of that'll be one of the interesting things with this Arizona Fall League is, getting numbers on guys, although it's maybe half the teams have StatCast, right?
Yeah, it's not all of them. I know the game that was played Monday night, there was no StatCast with that one. I can't remember I believe the Pirates were this. I can't remember who are the Pirates players played with last year. They were one of the stadiums that
it was Salt River.
Salt River. So they had it. I know. So I guess we'll see.
This year
any data helps.
Right, and this year they're Scottsdale, so I don't remember who had it and all that. So hopefully they're at the club that has it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be unfortunate not to get some added data, and a big thing for Yin too, because like he's Rule 5 eligible, and also I believe he's a minor league free agent too.
Mm-hmm.
So could be pitching for a lot more here. Next is someone that I know I have talked a lot about. Christian Curtis pitched for Bradenton last year, was their 12th round pick, I believe, in 2023, out of Arizona State. Really good stuff. Fastball, slider, curveball, cutter, changeup. The slider, if I remember correctly, I'm going to be working on an article with it while he's in the fall league. The slider is really like just like a harder curve. It's like the death ball, as he called it. So, but it just kind of, because of the spin and the velocity and stuff like that, it picks up as a slider on StatCast. So, good stuff. Fastball can get up into the upper 90s. The whiff rate on all his secondary pitches were all over 40%. So that's something good. The biggest thing for him is control, and making a little bit of time back, because he missed a little bit of time with an injury. I think it was like his knee or something like that. So I
guess the whole thing too, I guess, was when you spoke to him, just the feeling in his hand was still like a here and there kind of thing.
Yeah. He had a surgery. He had surgery, and I guess they left something, or they messed something up with one of the nerves in his arm. So he almost lost like complete use of that arm. So they weren't sure if he was going to be able to play baseball again. And it's slowly coming back. And he said that a lot of the times whenever like things have kind of gone off the rails for him, it was because like he would start losing feeling in his fingers and stuff like that. So.
And I totally get that too with the injury I had, that, I still don't have full feeling in my hand after my injury in 2007. So,
but he'll be someone to watch, because he was one of the guys who got an overslap bonus in 2023 too. They gave him a little bit over the 150,000 that's allowed for after the like day 3 picks. So right. Pirates obviously like a lot of them. I don't think I think anyone who's really got to see him pitch will like recognize that the stuff is there. It's just a matter of like continuing to work on the command.
Right. So. Which, hey, I mean, at least that gives kind of at least gives him like a floor of high leverage reliever with the kind of stuff he has. Just, hopefully you can teach him to throw strikes, which in kind of similar fashion with Patrick Riley was concerned of throwing strikes. I mean, he lost some velocity, but, started throwing strikes, pitched well, then got traded. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Nola dropping hints on his 3-part feature for his site last week. So, next pitcher, I guess another guy too that I've talked about some, Derek Diamond, which I guess he kind of makes sense on there, but with him almost throwing 100 innings, I guess that was kind of a little bit of a surprise that he was heading to the fall league. He's more of a finesse guy, command over stuff. He had his walk rate was under 5%. The fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. I think what was it like? It was after the draft. I watched just some video of him back in high school, and I like came to you guys said like if they can kind of get him back to like his high school form, I kind of felt like they had something there with him. He's had some moments to where he's kind of looked interesting. Just the end of the year, like it was a very long stretch in Greensboro that he just kind of got beat up. So kind of feel like he's more of a depth guy at this point. But like,
yeah,
I mean,
he had a nice stretch there for a while in Greensboro, but then the wheels kind of fell off a little bit. I mean, still finished the year strong, but
yeah. I mean, it's still like even he nearly hit 100 innings again this year. He missed like the first couple weeks of the season, so like if he hadn't, like he's definitely so like even if he is a depth guy, someone who could get 100
too. So
yeah, they had to build his arm back up. So definitely probably more like a minor league innings eater, which I mean those have their own value built into the system on their own.
Right.
I think this last guy is someone that like we've wanted to see more of. It just injuries have kind of slowed down how much he's played. And that's the Aussie Brandon Beddoe. Struck out over 30% of batters he faced, but I think it was only like 20, 25 innings he threw this year. Was able to come back and throw in AAA. Fastball has some like nice metrics to it, nice characteristics. Throws from a little bit of a higher arm slot, but I don't think the stuff is ever in question with him. The stuff's pretty good.
I mean, he another one that falls kind of in line with he's got the stuff, the flashy stuff. Just the control is going to be his biggest question mark.
Yeah,
which I'm kind of laughing at myself right now because they have him listed on the Scottsdale roster as 6'2", 158 pounds.
He needs to eat a burger.
I can't imagine that's right.
No, I imagine they pull. I feel like it's like. Well, I always see it with like the Latin American players. Like they have like the weight is always like whatever they signed at kind of thing. I never really paid attention for like the other international people, but I would imagine that's probably just what his weight was when he signed.
Probably similar.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I'd have to go find the 2024 Pirates media guide. It would have at least in spring training what his height and weight were.
Yeah, but
maybe we'll find that tomorrow.
Yeah, he's another guy that's Rule 5 eligible. What like? If he's able to string together like a pretty good ball here, what are the chances you feel like that he can get added to the 40-man?
I mean, Colin Selby pitched his way onto the 40, so it's probable. Last I took a quick glance at the 40-man roster, there's still a lot of dead weight. There's going to be a lot of free agents that come off, and then on top of that, there's a bunch more dead weight that can fall off. So they could make room for him if they really wanted to, if he really shoved. Because obviously, I mean, there's no need to add any of the, depending on how their game plan going into the off season. You obviously don't need to add a Bubba Chandler or a
Yeah.
Harrington, and you have time to let them kind of come up with your rotational options before having to, come spring training and then decide, okay, we want to add you to the 40 potentially with like a Bubba. So
Yeah.
they got time to work that out.
Yeah. I think he could be like a sneaky guy. Like at this point now with like York and like not to get too much into the Rule 5 thing, but like with York and Cook already added to the 40 man, I get the feeling it's probably going to be a very slow Rule 5 process for the Pirates this year. But it was kind of like the intriguing like what if guy kind of thing. So definitely something to monitor too, because like if he's able to one stay healthy, two pitch really good here, like there'll be a lot of eyes on him and something like that, and maybe could force the Pirates into that kind of decision. So you ready to move on to the hitters?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. We'll start with the catcher. One of only two catchers that's listed on the roster. I haven't really dug into like the other names there. Is there 4 now?
4.
There's 4? No, there's only 2 originally.
No, they got 4 listed on here. 2 from Detroit.
I feel like those had to have been added. One of 4 catchers on the roster. Giovanni Blanchard. Blanchard was kind of a guy I think that had some interest when he came stateside. I think he had a pretty good year in like the complex, and then has kind of just barely hit or something, or hasn't hit much once he's gotten to Bradenton and above. More of a defensive guy, I'd probably say. Than anything else.
But he's got the size where you just want him to run into a couple balls.
Yeah.
I think it was 2022 when we saw like a instructional clip of him, and it was like, holy shit, that dude's yoked.
Yeah. And what is it? He played in Greensboro for most of the year and only hit 3 home runs. So definitely would like to see more. I think the caught stealing rate kind of dropped too for him there. It was a weird year for him in Greensboro because like it kind of looked like everything was aligned for him to be like the everyday guy or like the primary catcher, and then he just like never really played much. I mean, obviously Sean Ross led the system in home runs, but
then interestingly enough got promoted to Altoona. I mean, for what it's worth, hit well in his abbreviated time there. And then gets added to the Arizona Fall League. So, I don't know, just kind of like a odd chain of events for his season.
Yeah, it's very weird because like even maybe I expected his usage, especially once they like, kind of like moved him up and kind of like created that space between him and Omar Alfonso. I figured like Alfonso would get the majority of the time in Bradenton, and then Blanchard would get the majority of the time in Greensboro. And even before like Sean Ross really started to take off, like Ross just kind of de facto was the guy there in Greensboro.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Ross, what, like a 25-year-old?
Yeah, something like that.
Played in Puerto Rico. Like at that point, it was like, I mean, if Sean Ross is still in Greensboro, they can't think much of him. And then he was a primary guy that played all the time.
Yeah. Would have liked to see. I know he's just like a depth guy in high A, but which I guess facing this kind of pitching, I kind of figured Sean Ross would probably be exposed a lot more than he already had. But it'd been cool to see how much he can run into here, because I know sometimes Arizona is a little more on the hitter side. So see if he can run into a couple things there. But next up, guy the Pirates got in the Jackson Wolf trade, Kervin Pichardo. There were times this year I think that we were talking back and forth, and it was kind of like, is he actually a guy or something like that? It's like every time we kind of realized that he was only like 22. Yeah, and then he'd go on like a nice little string and get some hits, and like, well, is this actually something here? I guess kind of cooled off. His WRC plus was just under 100. Did hit 11 home runs in Altoona. But what were your kind of overall thoughts of him, of the season kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was intriguing from the standpoint of that it was like, oh, this dude's only 22 and he's, for all intents and purposes, holding his own in Double A.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't walk. He doesn't walk much. Strikes out a lot, like upper 20%. I think his walk rate was under
Like
6%.
yeah, it was like 5
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and then I'm not really sure he has a defensive home
Yeah,
because there's a few times at third base where I mean, like, he would like let balls under his glove. Um, he'd make a solid play here and there, shorter second base, but nothing to where you really saw a future moving
yeah,
forward position, at least at shortstop.
mm-hmm.
So I guess just,
Yeah, yeah. He's just kind of a guy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd
he's
have to see more.
so yeah. So it'd be interesting because, like you said, the age thing is intriguing. Like, because he's only 22 in Double A, and there's some times where he played well, but like, yeah, I just think you hit the nail on that one. Just not much of a defensive home, and doesn't walk, does strikes out. And so, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. 22 years old, facing another kind of step up in competition, kind of see what you got, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, next up, your boy, Sammy Siani. I'll let you take I'll let you take control on this one since that's your boy and all. I'm just lucky that Hudson Head isn't here.
Yeah. So I forget who said it last year, but they were talking about him actually in comparison to Sal Frelick, and and saying, you know, how Sal Frelick's basically just a pure contact guy and does it very well. He's a solid defensive outfielder that makes a lot of contact, gets on base a lot. And they said that Sammy Siani had a lot of similar qualities to Frelick, but it was like the Pirates were trying to get as much power out of him as possible, which I guess you would see with the swing a lot because it was him and Hudson Head both in Bradenton. You know, I think what was it? They both like struck out around 30%, but they both had like 15 plus, near 20% walk rates, and it was just they had great eyes and great discipline at the plate. When they swung, they were trying to hit it 500 feet every time. And it just kind of continued as we went up the ladder. And it seemed like Siani kind of reeled it back a bit finally this year, was getting a lot better just contact. The defense, I believe that he could play any of the outfield positions very well. Not too dissimilar to his brother, Michael Siani, who's in the majors playing very quality center field. I mean, the question is going to be how much power there is, whether or not Altoona, which is not only is it not a hitter-friendly park, it's definitely not a left-hander hitter-friendly park, at least for power. But it'll be interesting. Another guy that, I mean, there's obviously no metrics on him because he spent 3 years in Greensboro, and then he's only topped out at Altoona so far, so we could finally see something on him, which would be nice to see.
Mm-hmm. So, I know TJ Stats has like the player cards for stuff like that, and I don't think they're going to be like 100% accurate because like going off of game day isn't always 100% accurate on it, but it does have him having a 86.1% zone contact rate, which I really like. That's really encouraging to see. The whiff rate came down a little bit. Chase is a little high and stuff like that, but wasn't striking out much and making good contact in the zone. And really, that's really good contact in the zone. He's another guy to that is Rule 5 eligible. I think this is going to be a second year eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Or is this another like? Because I remember the big thing with like Chase, he's kind of like in the same position. I feel like as Chase Bowen was like last year going to the fall league, like Rule 5 eligible. There's kind of, you could almost kind of make a case for him to get added to the 40-man. How similar do you feel like those two are in like this position that they were like Bowen last year to Siani now?
I mean, I guess the thing with Siani is he has more of a AA upper level track record to his rap sheet. Whereas, when we're talking about Bowen or back in the, Matt Gorski, back when he was the hot topic of Rule 5 discussion, they were had just come off of prolific high A seasons with some AA time. I don't know. I don't think he gets added.
No.
It's just I'd say he rose his floor a bit and could potentially add a little more to that floor with a solid Arizona fall showing. But, I mean, unless he comes out and leads the Arizona Fall League in home runs and slugging or whatever,
I mean, Bowen was like among the leaders and all that last year too.
True. But then, I guess even speaking off that, I mean, then we have to kind of go into the whole aspect of, again, about the overall quality. And that, I mean, there's quality players, a lot of quality players in the league, but at the same time, you got A ball players, low A ball players. So he's going to be facing good pitchers, but he's also going to be facing pitchers that it's like, all right, you should be crushing this dude.
Yeah. I don't think he's as much playing for a 40-man roster spot because I don't think he'll get added either. I think he's kind of playing to remain like an option kind of thing for the Pirates, maybe to set himself up to be a bit like he's kind of playing like if he goes out here and just falls flat, he's probably just going back to Altoona and he's probably just like an Altoona guy at that point. He comes out here and shows some intriguing stuff, and you're talking about maybe pushing him to Indianapolis to start the year, which then you're knocking on the door to the majors if you start hitting and stuff like that. So I don't think he's playing for the 40-man. He's just he's playing to maybe put himself in line for like an opportunity. And I think he's like a minor league free agent after next year too. So
yeah. So he's probably playing for an opportunity to kick it off in Indianapolis, maybe. I mean, it's not like it's not like they have too much going for them.
No, yeah. If he plays well, like it'll be pretty easy to find him a spot in Indianapolis if that's what they want to do. So
yeah.
All right. Last player, and kind of save the top guy for last. Termarr Johnson, obviously the most notable name that's heading that way. Had a
who?
Termarr Johnson.
What? Never heard of him.
He had a interesting year, I guess, to say the least. It's kind of hard to put your thumb on it, I think, overall. 15 home runs, 22 stolen bases for a kid who started the year at 19 playing in high A and then ended up in double A. I think you can be okay with certain aspects from that. But there are also still parts of his game that I think were very, very concerning. The in zone contact rate wasn't always ideal. I think there's like a report that like the exit velocity numbers were maybe down a little bit from the year previous. Like obviously we don't have. There's no way for us to get confirmation on that since that data isn't available.
Right.
What were your thoughts on Termarr this past season, and what do you think about him going to the fall league? Because I know he was a guy that I kind of mentioned at the previous show when we were kind of like predicting who might go.
Well, I guess something that even just popped in my mind as you were talking about that is, the what's the terminology I'm looking for? The elephant in the room is that they're. I'm now going to be kind of curious to what happens in the entire offseason as a whole, just because they're going to be bringing in a whole new hitting coach.
Yeah.
So I know certain readers, commenters are going to argue about how much influence they have over the entirety of the philosophy and everything, but it'll be interesting to see that come next season. But yeah, it was just an interesting season because obviously the discipline and the patience, the eye is there, but for a kid that was talked about with an 80 grade hit tool, I'm probably embellishing a little bit, but it just hasn't really come across in his career yet. So, and it's not like he's hit some monstrous home runs, but for the hit tool to come out where it is, you'd have hoped it came with more power than it has. Because, I don't know if he's just going to top out as like a 15 home run second baseman that's kind of defensively but walks a lot. I mean, that's okay, but it's nowhere near what was kind of foreseen for his development.
I think, like, I'm so torn on Termarr because, like, it's the issues like the in zone contact, and like I feel like you can look at that like two different ways. Like, okay, well, yeah, it sucks that he's struggling with the in zone contact, but also he never chases. Like he walks a lot. So like you kind of figure, okay, well, if you're doing all that stuff right, and it's just that one part of the game you're kind of focusing on, then maybe he just kind of works it out. But then on the flip side with it, it's like, okay, the further up he goes, he's going to see more pitches in the strike zone. He's going to see more quality pitches in the strike zone. And if he's already struggling with some of like the lower level stuff that's getting thrown there, what's going to happen when it's better stuff, not that's in the zone and in the zone more consistently? Like
he's going to be Jack Sawinski that's at second base.
Yeah. That's kind of like that's a path that you can realistically see it heading with it. If it doesn't, because he's not going to walk 20% of the time, like as he goes. Like he only very small sample size, but it was like it was a 12% walk rate with Altoona. Like he's not going to walk 20% of the time in double, triple majors and stuff like that because he's going to see more pitches in the strike zone. And if he's not able to punish those pitches when they in the strike zone, like he's just not going to have that much success. Like you said, Jack Sawinski that plays second. So, but
I mean, direction I was heading because what was so when we pulled that up? What was Sawinski's in zone contact? It was like 65%.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Then again, too, he has like age on his side because like he'll be 20 starting in Double-A next year, and he won't turn 21 until what is it, like early June. So like he's always going to be super young and stuff like that. So there'll always be give him a little bit more time. The age and the pedigree stuff is there.
Right.
So, I don't know. I love this opportunity for him to face some like better pitching. And like you said, maybe there are some like guys that are not as great that he should hit, but I mean, let him go out there and just mash some more. Get comfortable.
Sorry, we need videos to retweet of monster home runs.
That's it. Get the hype train moving.
Right.
But that is everyone on the Pirates. They play their first game. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, when it releases, they play their first game. It's in Arizona, so the games are going to be like 9:30 or something like that. We'll have recaps on it. Yeah. We'll have recaps and everything the next morning, and like I'll do like weekly recaps of how everyone's doing. Before we wrapped it up, though, I wanted to go through, since we kind of monitor prospects outside of the Pirates system as well. Maybe go through like a quick name or two that we're also watching in like around the AFL this year. I kind of feel like I know one of your guys.
Mm-hmm.
Since we also kind of talked about it before the show, but I kind of figured it was going to be that anyways.
Yeah. Trey Morgan. Meow, meow, meow.
Surprise, surprise. Nola takes the LSU player.
I mean, hey, the Tampa Bay Rays have like 21st basemen in the upper levels. Maybe the Pirates could swing a trade for one.
What are you talking about? He's playing left field tonight or on Monday night in the AFL, and he's listed as
outfield, first base. He's a man of many talents, but we specifically could use a Gold Glove first baseman. So,
isn't that going to be Ryan Reynolds
next year, and then he'll be DH year after?
Ooh, look at that. Okay, who's your other guy? You can just run through yours real quick, and then I'll just wrap it up with mine, and then we can close it out.
Yeah, I'm going to do a bit of a group for people that read the 3-part series I put out. I mentioned the Oakland Athletics as a team I would be interested in the Pirates doing a deal with. 2 of the upper-level outfielders, Henry Bolt and Denzel Clark, are both in the Arizona Fall League. They're both Double-A. So, they wouldn't be like immediate fill-ins for the Pirates. But, the Pirates still need some quality upper-level talent. So, they'd be interesting. And then, especially in the outfield. And then I'm going to throw in Christian Robinson. He's Rule 5 eligible. I wouldn't say that I would take him in Rule 5, but he was a fast rising prospect in the Arizona system. Dude had a lot of talent, huge ceiling. But then, what was it? He had, I guess, I don't want to speak off color, but like mental breakdown for a few years, I think it was. And didn't play for like 4 years, but came back in 2023, played very well, had a down 2024, 150 strikeouts in Double-A for Texas Rangers. But, highly talented kid, 23 years old. So, I guess also just one of those guys you kind of just root for. So,
yeah, and lots of strikeouts kind of just fits the Pirate system anyway. So,
yeah, but we're gonna get a new hitting coach. We're gonna fix it.
Okay, we'll see.
No, probably not.
See. Yeah. All right. For me, I kind of the first one's kind of a layup, and I feel like he's a guy that like we joke around it, but if it wasn't for like Wilbur and Eric actually seeing him pitch, like I wouldn't be 100% convinced that he actually existed, and we'll actually get like our own proof of seeing him pitch. And Jung Shuk Shim is pitching for Peoria with the Marlins. Hadn't pitched all year. Still only has 8 innings pitched in his minor league career. Pirates traded him away in the De La Cruz trade, and the irony or the cruel fate if he all of a sudden stays healthy, and there's some sites I saw kind of tossing him out as like a guy who they absolutely feel he could be a top 100 prospect if he stays healthy. So I'd be so
really
mad.
Fun.
Yeah, that'd be really entertaining. That'd be one of those moments where I just have to sit back with the popcorn and let Twitter have a meltdown if he starts kind of just taking off. But it'll be fun to see. Like, obviously, there's some talent there. Like I said, Eric Birdland and Wilbur both have seen him pitch in live games. So we know he does exist. It's just
But do we? We really?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We get to see with our own two eyes that he's pitching. So
if he takes the mound,
which would be right on par for him, just not the ball. Last name I'll go and do, and we can go and wrap it up here. I got to give like the little local shout out love to Zaire Hope. Went to Colonial Forge High School, Stafford, which when I went from where I went to high school, it was like 20 minutes away, if that. So fun seeing the local kids there. He was like an 11th round pick of the Cubs, was in the Michael Busch trade, went to the Dodgers, and I think even as a teenager, if he hadn't got hurt, he was like on pace to have a 2020 season in low A. So good skill, hits the ball really hard, has speed, no doubt, like center field kind of guy. Just seems like one of those kids that's going to be fun to watch. And like I said, I got to show some love to the local kids kind of thing, to the Virginia kids. So
makes sense. Yeah. I'll allow it.
You'll allow it?
I'll allow it.
I mean, you picked the LSU guy, so of course I had to pick the Virginia guy.
True story. That's true.
But did you have anything else fall league related, or any NOLA knowledge for us?
NOLA knowledge.
I
mean, I guess kind of going off of one I think I mentioned the other day. Especially now we got some readers in different states that, if you're in Florida, get out. If you're in the Tampa area, get out.
Yeah.
And for a more fun NOLA knowledge, I just want to say, per usual, August Burns Red is phenomenal live. I finally got to see the Devil Wears Prada and Silverstein live. They were phenomenal. Norma Jean and Under Oath, I thought the fans were going to break the stage. I'll have to show. I'm sure someone's going to post it, and we'll have to find the video. Show you all the video of how many people got on stage with Under Oath to close out the festival.
Nice.
I thought the stage was going to break, but it didn't, which is good.
Yeah. I tried Whataburger for the first time ever in my life. And
did you go back?
Yeah, I went back. I asked for the spicy ketchup. They did not put it in my bag. So I made my own spicy ketchup with some pepper sauce that my mom had in the fridge.
Did you get the buns toasted?
I asked for it, and they did not do it either.
Man, you went to the worst Whataburger ever.
Funny story with that too, because first of all, in Pensacola, they're everywhere. I don't know if that's common like other places. I saw no less than 3 different ones within like 15 minutes of where my mom lives. So the first time we went out to go it, my youngest brother, who lives down there too, he told us to go skip the one closest to the house because they weren't great. And we went to another one, did that. When I got back to the house, that's when you told me about getting the buns toasted and like the spicy ketchup. So the next time we went out, I went out with my sister to go pick it up. And we went to the one that was immediately to the one that my brother told us to avoid. And I can completely see why he said to avoid it, because we didn't get any spicy mustard or spicy ketchup. We didn't get the buns toasted, and it took about 20 minutes to get our food when we were like the only people there.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing is because I was mentioning it to Annabelle, and she's like, "Did you tell him to go get breakfast and get the honey butter chicken biscuits?" I was like, "I did try about that."
I did try.
Yeah,
because the first time we went for breakfast, but I still got me a regular burger, and my mom.
I think they have the jalapeno cheddar biscuit too.
I didn't try that. I didn't see that.
Oh, there's so much good stuff there, man.
Yeah. So, I looked it up. It looks like they're going to be trying to build a couple in Greensboro in the next year. So, just added something to my Greensboro trip. So that'll be fun.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I tried Whataburger and it was really good.
And there you go. Nolan knowledge. Although I don't know about up there, but they sell a 3-pack at Costco. That's 2 spicy ketchups and 1 regular, 1 fancy ketchup.
Fancy ketchup.
I'm not telling people to cheat on Heinz ketchup, but it's a good buy.
I will say I was a very good a Yinzer the other day. Even though I'm not like really from there, but my girlfriend brought home like non-Heinz ketchup one time, and I did not let her hear the end of it for a very long time. And then I threw it away and bought a thing of Heinz. So
yeah, the only thing I will allow is if it's Whataburger spicy ketchup. That's right. I'm sorry.
I will. But I'll add on to the Nola thing. If you're in the line of path for this hurricane, please, and you have the means to get out, please get out. Please be safe. I have family members in Orlando, which seems like it's not going to be as bad by the time it gets there. But we're trying to talk them into getting out of there the other day.
Yeah, I'd say go north or south.
Yeah. So, but anyone listening to this, I mean, we're a Pirates podcast, so if there's anyone in Bradenton, like, please be safe and go somewhere else if at all possible. Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Nola, where can they reach you on the social medias?
At Nola Jeffy, NOLAJEFFY.
You can follow me on Twitter at _Murphy88. Subscribe to Bucks on Deck Substack. We started like some of the end of year review stuff. Like I said, go check out Nola's 3-part like off-season primer of some really good stuff there. Really thought out. He stretched it out 3 parts on there. It was all great. 1, 2, and 3. Got really good reaction from a lot of the readers for it. Brought up some interesting names to kind of follow. Now a couple of those names are in the Arizona Fall League, so we can get an even closer look at them. So always nice when a plan comes together with that. Ethan will have an article out on Wednesday on the options and service time. I'll have something on Lonnie White Jr. later this week. Going to take a day to kind of adjust back take a vacation from my vacation. And subscribe to the site. We got some great off-season stuff kind of coming up. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
Deuces.